Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. It is my great pleasure to introduce one of Detroit's most successful and respected hip-hop producers, MCs, and DJs, working and producing music with artists such as 50 Cent, Lloyd Banks, Talib Kweli, and many more. He has become an icon on the Detroit music scene. Please give a warm welcome to platinum-selling producer, DJ, and MC, the one and only Nick Speed.
Sorry, I forgot to give him a beat. How y'all doing today? Y'all having fun? We got a great show lined up for you. We got an incredible lineup. This is the first Midway, Monroe Street Midway artist panel. We live from Detroit. It's really windy out here. And, man, we're going to have some fun, man. I don't know if you guys have gone over there. It's skating. It's basketball. It's a golf course. I went on that golf course, too. I'm telling you, I thought I was Tiger for a minute. But, yeah, anyway, we got an incredible lineup for you. So we about to get this thing started. I want to introduce all of my guests today. Got some very important people with some incredible stories, and they're going to let you know how they came up, and they're going to let you know, what it took to get to where they are right now. So let me introduce our first guest. The third generation owner of RollerCade Detroit. His grandparents started RollerCade in 1955, and they've been open for more than 65 years. This is the oldest black-owned skating rink in America. Everybody give it up for Kyle Black. Oh, yeah, he is also responsible for all that skating that you're doing over there, too.
What's up, Nick?
What's up, man? You feeling good, man? You all right?
I'm feeling good. I'm feeling good.
That's what's up, man. And we also have some more guests with us today. This guy is a creative thinker. He's been in the game for so long. He has experience in apparel sales and design. And he's also a member of the MIT Media Lab Innovators Guild. He started his career in streetwear as a preteen, and he's an early leader in placing novelty T-shirt brands in the streetwear retail outlets. He sold to over 600 stores throughout 70 cities worldwide. I think it's even more than that now. Founder of the Fame Shop, and he also does merchandising, branding, logo design, cardstock printing, product sampling, and he builds merchandise brands. Everybody give it up for Clement Brown Jr., a.k.a. Fame. What's up, Fame?
What up, though, Nick? What up, though? Thank you for that
Oh,
introduction, sir.
yeah. Absolutely, sir. Now, this guy right here, I've had the honor to know this guy for a very long time. I would almost say we kind of grew up together. This guy is the owner of the BurnRubber Sneaker Boutique, as well as the 218 brand new store in Easter Market. He's also a constantly evolving music artist and DJ and producer. This guy is very talented right here. He has several releases available. Born and raised in Pontiac and grew up in Pontiac and Detroit. I mean, his evolution as an artist and a businessman sets a precedent for what it means to be self-made. This guy right here has a party called Secret Garden. That's incredible. And he's also one of our sponsors today because today's show is brought to you by the Coney Island album by Nick Speed and Rose Spit. Everybody give it up for Roland Coit, a.k.a. Rose Spit. How's everybody doing today? Great, man. I appreciate you guys for coming out. This is the first one. This is historic right here for the city of Detroit. I think it's really big for, us to be able to discuss like, business practices in Detroit and, being self-made and doing your own thing. And, I think that like we need to hear it from the source, hear how, how you guys came up and everything. So what I'm going to do is ask you guys a few questions, and I want you guys to kind of just like, chime in and, give your individual answers if you have anything to say about that. But I think you all probably have some great things to say about some of these things that I'm going to ask you. So first of all, how y'all feeling?
Good, Nick.
Man, I'm great, Nick. Thanks for having me again, man.
Yeah, happy to be here, man. I'm feeling amazing.
No doubt. That's incredible. That's incredible.
How you feeling?
I'm feeling great, man. I mean, life is good, man. It's wonderful, man. We got that brand new Coney Island album out in stores right now. We'll get to that later, though. Coney Island by Nick Speed and Rose Spit.
The breeze is nice.
Oh, yeah.
It feels nice, but it's causing us a little some technical difficulties.
Yeah, yeah. So the first question I want to ask you guys is where were you born and raised, and what were some of your early influences in your household? So we can start with you, Kyle.
Yeah, so I was born in River Rouge, Michigan. It's like at the border of Southwest Detroit and Ecorse, Michigan. It's called like the Tri-City areas downriver. So that's where I'm from. And early influences, I had my family, man. I had my mom, my uncles, my dad, cousins. It was a huge village around me. So I had a big family, and it was all tight knit too.
That's incredible, man. Give it up for him real quick, man. That's a good story right there. I know we ain't done, but I like that right there. My brother
Yes,
Clement.
Sir. Yes, sir. So I was born in Buffalo, New York, and I moved to Detroit when I was 6 years old. So I like to say Detroit raised me. And early on in my life, my father's from West Africa. He's from Ghana. And my mother, I have a teenage mother. She was a teenage mother when she had me. So I would say my household was super unique compared to my friends, and that was where a lot or mostly all of my influence came from my parents.
Okay, I like that. Give it up for Fame one time too, man. Make some noise for him. My man Ro.
Yeah, I was born in Pontiac, born and raised. Spent a little time. My stepfather, when I was growing up, lived on the east side of Detroit, so I spent a lot of summers down in Detroit. But I would say my biggest influence, I will say, my parents, my mom and my stepfather, but business-wise, like the business mind, I think, came directly from my mother. My mother, she was a court reporter for the city of Pontiac. Worked in the court systems or whatever, but she always had like a quote unquote side hustle, whether it was like stores or she did real estate things. Like she always had a mindset of independence, but always kept like that security with the job, for me and my brother and sister and everything like that in our family. So
Okay, that sounds good. Make some noise for Ro one time too, man. Yeah. So it's good to hear how you guys grew up, man. I mean, everybody has their own unique story and how they came about, man. Like, I feel like everybody, even in the audience, has a great story that, could be told, but you guys actually made it possible for yourselves to be on a platform to be able to tell your story and inspire some of the, youth for the tomorrow or the Detroit's next generation or Michigan or the world's next generation. But since you guys spoke on some of your influences, I wanted to know, like, what was it about those influences that made you take notice to what they were doing, or like, made you kind of be like, dang, I want to be like that, or what made them special to you? So,
So with me, another influence I had is my cousin, my big cousin, one below. He was the first person that showed me like being independent as far as a musician. You don't have to be on TV every day to live a life in that route. But I think it was the independence of it. It was like, him being able to take his son to a school trip, you know what I mean, and not being able to because he had to work, and just things like that. And those are the things that I kind of latched onto, with and I noticed, like, friends and Even family members, parents, weren't able to do those things because they were bound to, certain jobs. And, it's nothing wrong with that, but that was just something that I picked up and I appreciated, and I wanted to dive into that to see how I can do, take my kids to school every day and be at every event or as much as I possibly could, So those are the things that I latched onto.
I know for me it was I just looked around. Nobody in my family really had 9-to-5 jobs. Like my uncle, he had the skating rink. My aunt had a bookstore. My mom had a restaurant. So it was, and I always saw them working hard, but they were working for themselves. And that was something that I wanted to always do. I wanted to work for myself and create something for the people around me. So I say it was good to see that from an entrepreneurial side young, because I never was trained to go get a job. That was never the answer. It was always, what kind of business would you like to create, and what kind of business can help the people around you, meaning the community and the people in your family that may need somewhere to work. So,
Yeah.
So yeah, early on, man, when I think back, my father was always a numbers guy. So he was either like an accountant or a chief financial officer, or he was always running a company's financials. And so early on, I can remember being a kid and having like a multiplication chart in my room, and we would talk that. We would talk numbers. When I first started playing football at age 6, we did like playbooks together. And so I think my father, from a business standpoint, he was a super analytical thinker, and he always taught me that that numbers matter. And my mom was like young. I always remember my mom being young and youthful, and so she would always, encourage me to be creative. I can remember doing, all of the school projects and stuff with my mom. We go outside, gather leaves or dry leaves for a project or whatever it may be. And so I can remember my mom telling me when I was younger, I would go to school with a quarter and come back with $1, or go to school with $1 and come back with some toys or some items. And so I think the combination of my family struggle, having my father, he was foreign, broken English kind of in a sense. My mom was super young. I think just watching my family work through the struggle and always find creative things to do, and I never felt like we were struggling as a kid. But in hindsight, when I look back on it, it was very rough for them. And so I would say, once again, for my father was always, he would tell me too, he wanted to run his own business, or he would encourage me to run my own business. He would say to me, I help everybody else make money. I need to be doing this for myself. And I would hear that all the time growing up. I'm helping all these other people make all this money, and I need to be making some money for myself. And so for me, by the time we moved to Detroit, I was already into the candy sales and Kool-Aid sales, and I was already doing things like that. And so my friends on the block wasn't really quite hip. So I would go to the candy store. We would ante up our money, go to the candy store, grab packs of candy, break them down into single now-and-laters or whatever, and sell them, and make Kool-Aid and lemonade. And we would do posters and post them up in the neighborhood and draw traffic to my mom's driveway, and she would be game for it. To her, it was just cute. It was just, she liked to see us do it. And that turned into me getting a job at the candy store. And I didn't mention my godfather, who the owner of the candy store. He was a very, very, very strong influence in my life, but it was after I was, around 11 years old. But yeah, between my parents and my godparents, man, it was all about, be resourceful, no excuses, and, there's no such thing as a disadvantage if you persistent. So.
Man, I love that answer, man. I mean, I think that probably all of us, especially myself, like, I definitely had, like, times as a kid where I was, I remember making some of my first money ever, and it was, like, my aunt, you know what I mean? And she was, like, she had me selling lemonade on the block, man. It was, like, lemonade and Kool-Aid. It was, like, some construction workers down the street. She was like, yeah, you better whip up that Kool-Aid. So, what I mean? And we always probably had somebody like that in our life that showed us you can actually make money yourself, even though you're a kid. And then she probably even gave me my first job to actually, vacuum her apartment building that she owned. You know what I mean? And so I started making like, what, I don't know, $20 a week or whatever it was. You know what I mean? But it was like, it was cool because, I mean, I couldn't really get a job. I was a kid, you know. But that's cool, man. So moving on into your life, you know, and your career, when you actually became a professional, like what was your first in-person experience with your profession?
So for me, the first day I feel like I really got on at the skating rink. So I got to give you a little background. I'm like on the younger end of the spectrum. My mom was one of 8, but she's of the last 3. So her parents built the skating rink. So it was a lot of relatives older and able to run the rink than me. So I was in line. I was just waiting in line for my turn. And I feel like I got my first shot. We had, I always wanted to be the DJ at the rink. I was able to, you know, sweep the floors. I was able to clean up at the end of the night. I was able to make sure people had tickets when they came to the skate counter, but I wanted to get in that DJ booth. So we had a Lil Bow Wow coming one day, and we had a girl DJ, and she was at that age where you like Lil Bow Wow, you know what I'm saying? So when he came in the door, she ran out the DJ booth with no music playing. So I tiptoed back around, got in that DJ booth, and I played Lil Bow Wow, You Just Don't Know, the way you move so fast. And I set it off, man. I've been on them turntables ever since. That was like 6th grade, so, and I ain't left yet.
I love it, man. That's great.
Yeah, so it's funny because my good friend of mine, my god brother, he started airbrushing on T-shirts when he was 12, 13 or so. I'm a couple years younger than him, so that's when I officially started taking T-shirts to school. I was in the 6th grade. I'd take T-shirts to school and sell them to my friends and to the teachers and so on and so forth, airbrush T-shirts. But before that, I can remember going to the local flea market. It was before Mammoth. I can't think of it at the moment. But it was before Mammoth. And we used to go there, or it was when Mammoth just changed from Kingsway to Mammoth on the west side. And I used to go in there, and I used to go in there so much to buy clothes because I had my own job. And, you know, a T-shirt would be $8, some shorts probably be $12 or something, so $20 you got an outfit. And I would go in there so much that I built relations with the owner of the little kiosk or the booth, if you will. And so she would give me deals. You know, a shirt would be, $12 or $15. I would get it for, maybe 30% to half off. And I can remember, getting fresh all the time. I go to the block, and the older guys in the neighborhood would be like, man, where you get that from? And I wouldn't tell them, because even though it's right around the corner at the flea market, it's so many different booths and so many different, vendors with so much different stuff. You still got to kind of know where you're going to get what you're going. I wouldn't tell them. They'd be like, man, just go get me one. And they'd hand me 20 bones or something like that to go get them a shirt. So I ride back up there, pay my $12 for the shirt or whatever it is, and then I go back and sell a shirt to the big homie. So I think, my first taste of selling T-shirts was around 6th grade. Yeah.
For me, I think it was, so I used to work at legendary Puffer Reds, which is in Ypsilanti. I went to Eastern Michigan, so I worked at Puffer Reds when I was in school. I was going on tour, and, so I went on tour or whatever, and and then years later, I had the opportunity to buy BurnRubber. And so, it's these things that it's called trade shows. So it's like all the clothing lines, the different clothing lines that we have in the store will set up at like a hotel in Livonia or something like that, right? And you go to these different hotel rooms and you see what's coming out in the next 6 months or 8 months or something like that. And I saw my old boss, at the trade show. And it was like, wow, we're the same now. Like it's not like you're buying these clothes and bringing them back for me to sell at your store. Like now we're seeing each other at an equal level. And that's when it clicked to me like, wow, this is real. Like I'm really a business, like a store owner,
Okay, thanks, man. I appreciate those stories right there. I wanted to cue up some of the products that you guys have for sale right now, man. I mean, I was checking out your Instagrams and your websites and everything. And, I mean, starting with Kyle, man, I mean, it wasn't even no pictures at all. It was just all videos of just people skating and going crazy. And if you guys don't know, again, that skating rink over there is, Kyle. I mean, first of all, can you tell us a little bit about how this all came about?
Yeah, so the Midway is in partnership with Bedrock. It was a collaborative effort, a lot of great minds sitting at a table, coming up with ideas, bouncing them off the walls, and we put it together, and here it is, year 2. So that's how the Midway came about.
Congratulations, man.
Thank you, thank you.
So can you tell us anything about what we're watching right here?
Right now you watching our Wednesday night skate lessons. That's for the grown folks, 25 and up, but really it's a little bit older than that on Wednesday nights. But that's for those people that might have gave up skating a few years ago or back in their teenage years and they want to get restarted. We go through like a warm-up process starting with how to stand up on skates, how to walk, how to roll, how to go forward, how to go backwards. So that was our Wednesday night session right there. And then from there you just got, keep going, you keep improving, your skills get like that.
Yeah, you can keep the videos going, whatever else we got for Kyle. Oh yeah, this is incredible right here, man.
Yeah,
I mean, my man is that was that one of your people right there?
Yeah, that's my man, Young Rich. He from Kansas City, and he was in town. He slid through the RollerCade, but he known for going viral for doing something wild on the skates, man.
Yeah.
That's Young Rich. Oh yeah, here you go again. That's another Young Rich video. He was in town on Memorial Day weekend for Soul Skate, and he came down to the Midway and brought that style to downtown Detroit. But he about to do something crazy right here.
I love it.
He about to do something crazy for sure. I wouldn't even try it. Don't try this out there though. When you go grab your skates, please don't try this.
Wow. This guy's the real deal. Whoa, hold on. Oh.
Through a crowd of people. It's just something about the RollerCade. We just attract those high-level skaters, but we like to pride ourselves on teaching people too, but
Man.
Everybody come through to show out.
That's incredible. Oh, this is you.
It might be.
That's you right there.
Yeah, that was just something like playing around, just playing
they said
around.
that boy a fool on them skates.
It's just playing around, man.
Hey man, I mean,
Yeah,
I guess you got to know how to,
You did.
Man, you did a James Brown real quick. Hold on. That was cold. That was cold, man.
You definitely did your research, man.
Oh,
I
yeah.
appreciate that.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that was just having fun, man, on a Sunday night.
Okay. I think we got one more video. Maybe you might want to skip to the next. Well, no, not this one. Not this one right here. Yeah, but give it up for Kyle real quick, man.
Thank you.
So, can you tell me a little bit about how your grandmother, because you have the oldest skating rink in America, black skating rink in America.
The oldest continually operating black-owned rink in America. And it came about, my grandmother, my grandfather was opening a business. He secured some funds. He wanted to open up a business. My granddad, he was more like nightclub-based. He wanted to open up a nightclub. And my grandmother saw an opportunity to create a business for her kids, and obviously she didn't want it to be a nightclub because they wouldn't be able to participate. And they took a family trip to a skating rink in Idlewild, Michigan. I don't know if y'all ever saw the movie Idlewild, but that was like a place in Michigan, and it was like a black resort where black families would go back in like the 40s. I think even before that, but in the 40s and 50s, black people would go to Idlewild, Michigan, and just party for a weekend. And when they were there, they went to a roller rink, and that was their first time skating. So when they came back, they wanted to skate some more, and there was only one roller rink around town, and it just so happened that it burned down. And so my grandmother saw the opportunity to be able to provide that for her kids and other kids in the neighborhood, and that's how she decided to come up with a roller rink.
Wow, and this is in the 1950s.
1955 is when they opened the doors.
Wow, man, that's incredible, man. Make some noise for that right now, man. So I want to get to Fame, and man, you've been doing your thing for a long time, man. First of all, could you tell them what Fame stands for?
So Fame, that's my nickname. It's an acronym for fashion, art, music, entertainment. And really it's just like my life lens. I see in shapes and logos and marketing and branding is kind of just how I perceive things. You know, I got to update my internet information because Fame Shop is a workspace that we had some time ago. Right now, you know, and since 2015, it's been 313. And, you know, and 313 is Detroit's brand name for all of the local brands and Detroit merchandise. We're, you know, a city pride shop that specializes in clothes, cars, classic cars, and collectibles. So, but
got some of your products up here.
yeah. You know, and
Tell us about this shirt right here. These 3 shirts.
yeah. So you know, when I did those shirts, I've been making and selling T-shirts for so long, and I've seen so many different iterations of designs and so on and so forth. And so now, when I create myself for our brand, I try to simplify everything. I try to do the most simplest thing that I possibly can do to express a thought that people can relate to. And so I'm not into a lot of graphics myself personally as much. The typograph for me, you know, words, they say, you know, words kind of in black and white is kind of, it is what it is. And so those shirts kind of for me epitomize a few different parts of our culture in Detroit. The shirt that says Woods Wire Buffs is our Cartier eyewear. Jit Ballroom Boss Up was our dance tee, and the other tee said Motown House Techno, which is our music. And so whenever I'm designing that shirt there, that's an airbrush T-shirt that my brother actually did this recently when we had our 313 day, March the 13th. So yeah, I still work with my brother. We do custom pieces every now and again, especially on the holidays for us. Yep.
And the holiday being 313.
313, man.
Which that's Rose Spit's birthday.
That's dope. Yeah, that's super dope. So when we got the trademark for 313, I immediately recognized that date as a day for us to be able to market our brand. And I can remember early on people laughing, I'm like, it's a holiday, it's 313 day, and they're like, boy, if you don't get up out of here, man, with that. And that was around 2008. But now it's actually a real thing. And so many corporations that come to the city, so many small businesses, so many creatives and artists celebrate it. And that's one of my crowning achievements, to kind of reinvigorate what that day was.
Okay, I see also that you have some cars for sale, some classic old schools, man.
Yeah, man.
Can you tell us a little bit about what's going on with these cars?
So Detroit raised me in a real way, and cars influenced me heavily in Detroit. G-body cars, which is cars from the years 79, 80, up to the late 80s, early 90s, was the cars that I kind of grew up watching, And so for me, the car culture in Detroit is very real. All of us had one. I bought my first car at 14 years old. And they're good attraction to the store. People love to see classic cars. I think they represent the city in a real organic way. And, we Detroit's brand name for a reason. So classic cars, I think, is fitting for our business. We designed the showroom so that we can display them, and it's been working well for us.
Man, congratulations, man.
Thank you,
Appreciate
sir. Thank
you, man. And we want to definitely get to see what Rose Spit is cooking up over there, man. You know what I mean? But definitely let them know where you're located at, fam.
Yeah, 313. So we're on Detroit's historic Avenue of Fashion at 19495 Livernois. It's directly across the street from Bucharest Grill. I'm super excited to be there. The Avenue of Fashion is a re-emerging scene for the city. The city have invested a considerable amount of time and resources and flat out money into the streetscape over there. And so I enjoy doing business over there. I feel so, special. I just feel I'm very, very, very grateful to have a space on the Avenue of Fashion in Detroit at a time where our city is changing. And, the neighborhood over there is a city's jewel. 48221 is the most affluent zip code in our city. And for me to have a 5,000 square foot building and over there that I own is more than a dream come true for me. So if you guys are ever on the west side, I would love to see you. We take care of you. First time in the store, you get a discount. And that's what it is. We Detroit's brand name for a reason. Thanks again for that, Nick. Thanks.
Absolutely. And Kyle, could you tell them where your RollerCade is at before we get to Rose Spit?
Oh, yeah, 2130 South Schaefer. We on the southwest side of the city, 48217. We at 75 in Schaefer. about 10 minutes from here.
Okay, cool. So, Ro, we want to get into some of the products that you have to offer right now, man. I mean, you know, you've been doing a lot out here, man. I mean, well, one thing I've noticed is, I mean, you definitely have some exclusives on deck. But I know over the years you also had, like, contracts. Oh, yeah, actually, I really want to talk about this. Straight to the feet. You had a free sneaker giveaway.
Yes, sir.
That you just did. Could you tell me a little bit about that?
Yeah, so you know, over the years I've done a lot. You know, so my first store is in Royal Oak, BurnRubber, and then I just opened on February 18th the store in the Eastern Market called 218. And up to this point, like over the last 12, 13 years or so, I've done a lot around the city. You know what I'm saying? Just my wife's was a teacher. Her best friend was a teacher. Is still a teacher in Detroit. And, you know, I've given back in so many ways. And one day we were talking, and I was like, I never, you know, I've talked to students in Pontiac, but I haven't, I've been so focused on, like, Detroit and things that are going on down here that I had never really did a give back for the city of Pontiac. And then I was just, you know, we just kind of came up with the idea of straight to the feet. So what Kicks for Kids is a 503c nonprofit organization that my wife's best friend started, Shakita Jones, and I'm kind of like a brand ambassador for it. So anything that they have going on, I'm a part of it. You know, I get up and I speak, I go see kids and everything, and their whole thing is giving brand new shoes away. And they've given over the years thousands and thousands and thousands. It started with like one classroom, and then it became like the whole school, and then 4 or 5 different schools, and then all these other crazy things. And we always get these get donations of like slightly worn shoes. And coming from what I come from, it's like, yo, like if you only wore them once, bro, I could fit them. I'll take them. You know what I'm saying? So we always got these shoes and these that we would either have to donate to Salvation Army or these different places. And I'm like, a lot of my friends who are into this take so good care of their shoes. It's like it's kids all around the city that would love to just have a pair of Jordans that may have never had a pair of Jordans, where some people go buy Jordans every Saturday. A lot of kids have never even put a pair of Jordans on their feet. And, so I kind of put the word out, man, and all my people, they always come through, whether it's like we would have these raffles where you have to donate a pair of shoes to get into the raffle, and it's like, oh no, that shoe is a little too busted, man. You gotta come back with something better. And they always come through. People have come through with bags and bags, like boxes of shoes. People would come in and buy a pair of shoes from us that's on the shelf to donate. And I think last year we gave around 400 pair of shoes away, 300, 400 pair of shoes away. This year I think it was about the same, 400, 500, and that's like all off of organic, our resources as a team. But next year we're gonna start, dipping into these corporate brands like Nike and Adidas, and we need 200 pair of shoes from each one of y'all, and we're just trying to grow it every year, But that's just it, man. It's like, it's special to me because it's Pontiac, and it's the people that, like, it's crazy. Like, people I went to junior high school with, I saw in line with their kids, people I went to church with back in the day, and it was just special. And they were so appreciative, man. You know what I'm saying? And so it's special just to see those people, and just kind of be able to put a smile on their face, or just kind of give back and reach back, man. So
I like that, man. That's incredible that you were able to do that, man. Make some noise for that. Yeah, that's great, man. Let's see what else we got here. So can you tell us about these shoes right here?
Yeah, those are some Jordan. I can't really see. I don't really know the exact name for it, but that's some shoes that came in to the store. Yeah, so like with everybody gets enamored with the shoe that comes out on Saturday, right? That everybody's standing in line for it to go get, right? But there has to be shoes on the wall Sunday through through Friday. You know what I'm saying? And the thing about BurnRubber and 218 is that we have a different tiered account than some of the other stores that are around the country. So we get even though it's not a shoe that people might not be waiting outside in line for, it's still a dope shoe that you won't see at every other store around. So,
man, I also want to say, man, I believe that you're one of a few black shoe store owners in America,
in the world.
Yeah,
it's only like I think because it's crazy because a woman from New York called me and I did this interview about I think last year, either 2020 or 2021, and she told me that it's like literally like 17 or 18 black-owned sneaker shops in the world. It's like 14 or 13 in the country or something like that. And I'll say with a Nike, Jordan, Adidas account, not like a resale shop, But yeah, it's crazy.
Wow, that's amazing, man. Congratulations, man. Definitely. So this looks like this was at 218 right here. Is this like something you guys did special or what's going on?
So it looks special, and that's what it's all about, right? And it is a special shoe. So this shoe is I can't remember what LeBron it is. I don't know. I think it's LeBron 8 or something. And so just like Jordan over the years, he might have a shoe that represented something, that he was into or whatever. They kind of do those same things with LeBron. And whatever year this shoe came out, which was probably like his 8th year in the league, I think this was the LeBron 8. I guess he was heavy into drinking Arnold Palmer's. So they called this shoe the LeBron Palmer, but it didn't come out back then. Like, it didn't release to the public, and they just brought it back out like about a month ago or something like that. So that's a shoe that we may still have a couple pair, but that's one of those shoes that people would be standing in line for.
Absolutely.
We do things like with the graphics, like kind of like Fame said, with the marketing and the graphics to like, yes, the shoe is dope and you'll see the shoe, but the graphics around it is kind of what catches your eye and brings you, hopefully brings you in that extra step.
Yeah, and one thing I also noticed about your marketing approach, man, you have a consistent quality to the actual photographs that you put out there. I mean, can you tell us anything about the photos?
Yeah, I mean, it's just like my cousin One Below, right? This is where the mindset of that came from. My cousin One Below, when I first started making music, he had been making music, and he had I think his first deal was with Fat Beats, with Fat Beats, right? And that's when they had like record stores like Media Play, and they sold, I don't even know if they still sell music like CDs or whatever at Best Buy or something like that, right? So that was the first like person that I know that I saw his album in one of those stores, right? And one thing that he put in my mind is like, no matter, like, people don't care that you're not Jay-Z, right? And that you don't, and Jay-Z got $1 million budget to do a single and you had to come out of your pocket. But when product next to his product, they can't see a drop off. And it's like, my question was like, man, if he paid $1 million for this and you don't have $1 million, how can you? And he was like, that's what you got to figure it out. And so with that mindset, it was like, I want to be able to put my pictures and my whatever you see from me next to Quicken, next to, you know what I'm saying? Like whoever has the most money, I don't know, when it comes, whether it's Nike or whatever. So that's just the mindset I had. And I have family and I have resources that I've come up with that do those things, and we empower each other. You know what I'm saying? So like Trill, that's Ray Trilogy Beats. He's, in my mind, the dopest, the best photographer in not, I won't even say in Detroit or in Michigan, but he's part of my staff, and that's really it, man. So it's the consistency and just kind of like keeping that level of quality and consistency in people's faces, and they're gonna appreciate it.
Okay. So 218 is coming out with clothes right now.
Yeah. So 218 is the new brand. BurnRubber. So we had a store called 218 years ago. I like 2011-ish or something like that. That didn't pretty, like every story is not the greatest, right? If quote unquote it failed, I hate saying that, but it didn't work out, but I learned something from it. And we wanted to call it something different than BurnRubber, right? And we wanted, that store was originally supposed to be called BR by BurnRubber. It's kind of like a offset brand or whatever. And we got a cease and desist from Banana Republic because they own, who knew, they own BR next to each other, right? That's crazy. Like, how could you even how do you buy that? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
but
right.
So any letters BR next to each other, like if that building right there had, instead of EY had BR, they would come make sure they take it down. So we got that, and we had to change the name, and kind of like like to get back at them, I came up with the idea to call it 218, right? And the first thing I thought was, Rakim, the letter R, the 18th letter. So the B is the second letter of the alphabet, which is 2, and the R is the 18th letter. So it's still BR. So screw you, Banana Republic. You know what I'm saying? Like, you can't stop greatness as much as you want to try. Yeah. So that's kind of how I came up with the name of 218, and it's just a new brand, and it's just an elevation and a continuance of what BurnRubber is, and just building off of it.
Yeah, and lastly, for you, I noticed you just had got like a proclamation from Oakland County.
Yeah, that was dope.
I think it's right here. So what was this? What was going on this day right here?
It was, the dope thing about this, man, is that I don't need like for my own self, I don't need kudos or pats on the back. You know what I mean? Like I just kind of do things. I do the best I can do every time I step up, and hopefully that's a little bit better than it was yesterday. So to actually have someone kind of take notice and have the platform to acknowledge the things that, we don't particularly, I'm pretty sure I can speak for these two guys too, that we just do dope stuff, man. And whether that's giving back, or whether that's a fresh T-shirt, or that's just trying a new move on skates that hopefully nobody's ever done before, but to get noticed and recognized for that, it's just special. You know what I'm saying? And so if the woman on there, and Angie, she's I want to say this right. I think she's a county commissioner for Oakland County, and her district is the city of Pontiac. So I've known her for a long time, and she got the opportunity to do that. And she's just a person that has always supported me, even before she had that position, and she got the position and was able to do that, man. So it was special, and I was all cheesy. I was cheesing like a mug, man, just happy, but it was just dope, man. It was just a dope thing.
Definitely something to be happy about right there. Okay, so I'm going to get back into some questions for all three of you guys. So I want to know, because, some of the things that you said just made me think about, because you were like, what you're saying is like you just like to do dope stuff, and it's like if the world notices, that makes it so much better. So like, I know for myself, like I like to make beats. So for me, I need a computer, I need a beat machine, I need some sounds, I need some water. You know what I mean? And then I'm gonna go in my zone, like, I ain't say all that, but so I'm wondering, like, what gets you guys in your zone? Like, what type of tools do you use, first of all, and then for your occupation, for your profession, and also, when you first got started, like, what was the motivation for you to get those tools? Because I know they could be expensive. That's like a big step for you to take when you're like, I'm about to take this serious, and I'm about to really do this. For you to actually invest in yourself and get those tools. And so, when did you decide to get those tools, and what tools do you use?
So for me, it was real expensive because I got a building at 60 years old, lights, sound system, computers, kitchen equipment, rental skates. And when I first sat down and like tried to write out a budget, see how much all of these things were, bro, it blew my mind when I really figured out how much money I need to come up with to get it like I want. And I knew at that time I wasn't able to just go pay for it and get it like I wanted it. So I had made an agreement with myself. We're going to knock out one thing a week, every week. If I can't get 10 pairs of rental skates in the skate room, I'm going to get 1 pair a week. And every week I picked something and I attacked it. And then as the business grew, my attacks got bigger. And now we got all new sound system, all new light show, all new rental skates, new bathrooms, new cafe. Everything is brand new in the building. And it's like that old school car. It's from the 80s, like my building is from the 50s, but it's got that all new look to it. Everything top notch, everything clean on it.
One step at a time.
Yeah, I want to say something real quick, man, because people get so caught up in like thinking they have to have everything all at the beginning, right? But it's about growth. It's about building. You know what I'm saying? Like, I know a lot of people that get caught up like, man, I don't got enough. And it's like, nah, I mean, we starting with 10. We get 10 people in here. Even if we got 20 people on the back burner, we get those 10 people in there, and then we get 20, and then we get 40, and then and then we got everything. But I think that's super dope, man, to say, and I think the kids really need to hear that. You know what I'm saying? Like, everybody can't just drop $1 million studio. You know what I'm saying? Like, if you rapping, you can't. Maybe you start with the microphone, and you know what I mean. So I just think it's super dope that he said that.
I mean, I just also want to acknowledge these are 3 business owners. Like, these guys have their own establishments. They have their own buildings and, their own brands. And these guys are successful worldwide, by the way, for the history that they're making. But, yeah, I want to continue, like, as far as the tools that you guys use and, when did you, decide to make that move?
For me, I mean, it's similar to what Kyle said with the store. So I'll kind of touch on the music thing. For me, it's as an MC, it's easier. It's like my life revolves around my cell phone, right? Whether that's looking up emails for the store or whatever, or just but just as far as making music or whatever, we start talking about studios and studio equipment and DJing, right? And it's like, even with DJing, it's like you start with whatever you can start with. You might have a $300 board and an old computer that your auntie just had to, because you couldn't afford it. But you do that and you master that, and you get and then hopefully you're able to start, charging for your events, and then you just save, pocket, and then get that $600 board. Get upgrade your computer and just kind of keep building like that. But for me right now, the most expensive thing is DJ equipment, man. It's just, and I can't stop. It's just, I'm like obsessive. I don't want to say like I'm OCD, like I haven't been diagnosed, but I can't stop buying shoes. I can't stop buying clothes. Can't stop buying jewelry, and now I can't stop buying DJ equipment. It's crazy. Every new board that comes out, I'm like, I have to get it. You know what I'm saying? But
whatever makes you feel like you, that's important as well. So, like I said, it's like I might just buy a brand new fit just to go to the studio.
For sure, I've seen.
And nobody's gonna see it but me. Like, I'm literally in there by myself making a beat. But I bought a whole brand new outfit.
But it's also a mindset. You look good, whether anybody else sees you or not. You look good, you feel good. Only goodness is gonna come from that.
Right.
I'm a firm believer in that.
For sure. Fame?
Yeah. So I can remember clear as day my god brother calling me, super excited, like super excited. We was kids. I was probably 11, 12 or something. He called me. He's like, "Yo, man, I got this money together, man. We just need a ride to Dick Blick art store so I can get an airbrush. You just need a ride. I'm telling you, I got the money. We just need a ride." So I called my pops. My pops came and took us on Michigan Avenue, things like Michigan and Schaefer, to Dick Blick art store. He bought an airbrush. He bought everything he needed. Took us back to the house. We went in the basement. He set it all up and started painting on T-shirts. And to me, I got a biased opinion, of course, but to me it was dope. It was fresh, off rip. Like, oh, that's cold. Like, I could sell that off rip. Like, that's a go. And, but in hindsight, it was super, super elementary. But even amateurs, even as an amateur, he was good though. And so, I think that was my first introduction to seeing, okay, investing into some equipment that's gonna pay off, a residual. And it wasn't even my equipment. It was my big brother buying the airbrush. I can remember being young, and I've always been a designer, right? I've always loved to make things look a certain way or build things, create things. And I can remember being young and maybe after 2-3 years having a job, like I'm about 13 or 14 now, and buying equipment like a drill, saw, because I was making furniture like headboards. I made a little like a closet situation. My room was in the basement, so we didn't have a closet. So I built myself like a little closet situation where my shoes can be down and my clothes can hang. And I remember taking pictures of it and showing it off at my job, and customers like, yo, could you build me one? And I'm like, yeah. So, early on in life, man, I was, and I got to give a lot of credit to my pops. I can remember being a kid. He'd be sitting at the table with, a calculator here, a pencil in his hand, a pencil in his ear, big graph sheets over here, and he's just, typing in numbers, like not even looking at the calculator, writing down figures, and just, and it's like time, he look up just to tell me it's time to go to bed. And I go to sleep, and then I wake up in the morning, and he be in the same spot. And so for me, I learned super early, you got to invest in yourself. You got to have what's necessary. You used to have compasses and all calculators and all different type of, and so, yeah, man, 6th grade, 7th grade, I think that's when I really knew.
Wow, I think you just said something real important, man. Investing in yourself.
Got to.
As Rose says, betting on yourself.
Right, but that's what that outfit was for you at the studio. No,
yeah.
It wasn't about everybody seeing you. It was about you seeing you.
Exactly.
How you feel when you make your beat. You
Yeah.
can't make no superstar beat not feeling like a superstar. Shit.
Like, oh, yeah, I'm about to send out the pack. You know what I'm saying? I got to feel like that. You know what I mean? So, okay, man, since we talking about creating stuff, I just want to know, like, what is each of you guys' favorite thing that you created?
Man, it's hard for me to say, but I mean,
it could be an event, it could be a space, it could be anything.
listen, when y'all leave here today, I want you to go on YouTube and type in "Meet Me at the RollerCade." We got a theme song and a music video with some kids from our neighborhood, from the hood, and they rapping about what it's like to skate at the RollerCade. And we did that in 4K in like 2015, off of like, a shoestring budget. Like I said, one week we bought the beat, next week we bought the studio time, and I told them, I'm like, I'm paying $100 for every verse, and if you don't cuss, you get a $25 bonus. So it's a clean song, you know what I'm saying? So, and then like a couple months later, we called somebody that we knew that made videos, and he had just got this new camera, and we paid for the video. So Meet Me at the RollerCade, out of everything I ever did at the RollerCade, that's my favorite, just because I like music. It's got an old school skating beat, and it's just about some kids expressing themselves about how it feel to be at the RollerCade. So
I love it. I can't wait to look that up, man. I'm going to download that for sure.
Yeah, Meet Me at the RollerCade.
Yeah.
Man, I've created so many different things over the years. I've never been asked that question, so I've been really like thinking, what is it? And you got your opportunities to plug your business and all that, but I really want to be honest and what I think will be the thing that I think was like the best thing I've ever created or the favorite thing I've ever created. Outside of our logo, just being honest, like the 313 logo, for a very long time in designing, you go through graphics and you go through slogans, you go through so many different iterations and ideas to try to get people engaged. But the goal is to have a logo. The goal is to have a symbol that represents an idea, right? That you can attach to things and increase the intrinsic value of that thing, right? And so for me, developing a logo was like the miracle, the top. If I can develop a logo that people can relate to, that can actually translate, then I made it. Then I did that thing, right? I did it as a designer. So our 313 logo, I would say, is one of the most things that I'm most proud of as far as that I created, because people can relate to it. At this point, more and more people is relating to it. I've seen it tattooed on several people. I've seen people do their own versions of it. You know, I got customers that came in the store as customers. Now they're DJ 313. I got people who came in the store as customers. Now they have their own stores, like selling Detroit items. And so for me, to create that platform that connects to the city in an organic way that other creatives can leverage for their own success, that would be my most proud creation that people kind of know about, I guess, locally. But I did a brand when I was younger called Laundry Money. And the brand, it was a T-shirt, it was a clothing brand, and the feature was real money on the garments. And so I did like a T-shirt, and I put like $1 behind this plastic, and then underneath the dollar, I spoke to my community. I spoke to the people I serve, and I said what to do with this dollar. Like, it ain't just about the dollar. It's about keeping the dollar. It's about investing the dollar. It's about ensuring that you have dollars. And so I had this long slogan that I wrote underneath the dollar that really encouraged people to, do more than just think about the money. It's what you're doing for the money. And Fubu knocked that design off. I got so many different people that did versions of that design. I think that would be my personal favorite. But 313 is definitely my proudest creation.
Sure.
I created 2 humans.
2 Newman?
2 humans.
Oh, 2 humans.
It's
yeah.
kind of crazy.
Absolutely.
To think about,
Yeah. I mean,
no, I have 2 daughters that had a part. I was a business partner with. But no, for me, man, I think it's been the shoes, like the shoes that we've designed over the years. It's a special one coming up this year that's going to be like super duper crazy, and it's going to be something that I can't really speak on it right now, but the entire world is going to be like, whoa, you know what I'm saying? But that is like, for me, like Fame said, we've been making shirts for the last 20, 30 some years, man. You know what I'm saying? And it's the dope thing about that it's always changing, right? Styles are always changing. Just people's palates are for what their digesting is always changing. So that's what keeps the ideas fresh and new, I would say. But to be able to design a shoe that a major company, somebody like New Balance or Nike or Puma or whoever, so like when we were kids, when I was a kid, just kind of going into these stores and looking at that and seeing like, man, I wonder what it even takes to do that, and to be able to sit in a room and come up with an idea and a concept and a thought, and then to be able to put a pair of shoes on that I design is incredible to me.
That's great, man. Yeah. So, man, I'm proud of all you guys, man, for sure, man, because I happen to know all you guys personally, man. So, I mean, to make your dreams come true is just something amazing, man. And some people may not ever get to know what that feels like. You know what I mean? But that's why you guys are here to provide inspiration, man. I mean, just like Fame said, like, you put something out in the world, and then all of a sudden you start seeing like the inspiration that you're providing and the influence that you have. That's a great thing, man. I mean, that's like hip hop pretty much. You know what I mean? It's like when just from the beginning, if you hear Sugar Hill Gang rapping on Chic, you know what I'm saying? They got the inspiration from Chic, Good Times, and then they went to Sugar Hill Gang, which spread on to a whole culture of music. I mean, which is the reason I'm sitting here for sure. You know what I mean? So, so now I want to ask you guys just a couple more questions. How did you get your first major job doing what you do now? Like maybe independently, maybe like, you had the dream, like for instance, Ro, you DJ, you might have had your first, like, yeah, I'm a DJ now, like, you know what I mean? Or like Fame, I know you had a couple stories where you went out of town and did some stuff, and RollerCade is, so I don't know, I just want to know, how did you get your first major job?
It's crazy for me. I think my first major job and it's to me it's twofold, right? So my first major job happened before I owned my own, right? So Puffer Reds was like, I heard about it before I went to Eastern, and then being up there and going to the store and it being everything that I had heard about, and then actually applying and getting hired was incredible to me, and it was something that I didn't take lightly. Like, I was super proud of it, and I was super happy. And there's things that I do and that I've implemented into my business that I learned from that, from Puffer Reds and Eric and Tandra. They're like amazing people, and it's like so many people have come through there and worked for them and went on to do amazing things. The second part of that is, like you said, like I was just thinking about when you said like a DJ was the first time or whatever, and I'm big on manifesting, right? So I tell my daughter, she like, yeah, I want to be a DJ one day, right? So I showed her how to match beats up, you know what I'm saying? And I showed her how to mix. And she's like, yeah, one day I'm gonna be a DJ. I'm like, no, you're a DJ now. So for me, it was like it was that moment. I didn't have anything. I didn't have any equipment. I bought my first equipment out of the back of the Source magazine.
I remember those ads.
$300 for turntables and a mixer. That was the worst. It was
Starter
worth
kit.
about $27. I'm big on like it. I am what I am now, right? I'm just happy. And now it's just about figuring out what it takes to get to that. You know what I'm saying? And I think when you kind of master that way of thinking, everything becomes easy, man. You know what I'm saying? Because you're not searching for anything. It's like, yeah, when I wanted to be a rapper, I wrote a rhyme. It wasn't Jay-Z level. It wasn't Biggie level, but it was a rhyme. So I'm a rapper. What makes you different? Because you've done it for 2 months, and I just started today. So that's what it is for me.
I think I like that answer, man. I think that you guys have a greater appreciation for what you have, because it sounds like you guys like worked your way up to it. You know what I mean? So as far as you, fam, what was your first major job?
My first major job was my first job. I got a job at the local candy store in the neighborhood. And so when you a kid and you work at the candy store, you just, you the man. You that guy. And I was. All my friends wanted the job. They couldn't get the job. And so I used to take the owner my report cards. I would take him my report cards. And I was always hustling in the neighborhood for the older guys. So I recognize the guys in the hood that got money and get money. Because growing up in poverty, it's a clear line. You clearly see who got some money and who don't. And so I would make myself available. I learned very young to to align myself with people I admire and respect and be a blessing to them. So, they would send me to the store all the time, bro. I was that kid on my bike, back and forth to the store all the time for $1. I would do that 10, 15 times a day. I have $10, $15, but even more so, the store owner took notice. So he would see me there all the time. What you here for now? I'm buying this for such and such. They want such and such. I'm bringing orders. So he see me kind of doing the thing that he would need me to do if I work for him already. And when I cut into him for a job, unbeknownst to me, he already asked my mom, could I work for him? And so I cut into him. He said, you're going to have to ask your mother. And so I went to home and I asked my mom. She said, you're going to have to ask your dad. And then my dad wasn't big, like I said earlier, he wasn't big on working for anybody, because that was one of his things by himself. Like, I'm working for everybody. I'm making everybody all this money. I need to be doing this for myself. And so when I told him I wanted to get a job, he was immediately against it. And, and I must admit too, just being real, the local candy store owner was a Caucasian man. And so in the neighborhood, he was the only white guy in the neighborhood. And so my father he wanted to know why I wanted to go work for this guy. You could be working here, or you could do this. You could do this. Why you want to work for this guy? And I told him because it was a dream job. It's the candy store. I'm a kid. If I'm working at the candy store, I'm going to be the man. And he was like, well, I tell you this: if your grades fall off, you're gonna have to quit. I'm gonna take you can't work there. So I was like, cool, and that was the promise we made to each other, and I was able to get the job, and I worked at that job till I was 19 years old, bro.
Wow.
I was
you know
raised
what?
there.
That's important that your father kind of gave you like an incentive, like, get good grades so you can keep working there.
My father was all about incentivizing everything. He never punished. It wasn't about punishment. It was about rewards. So it's like, if you do this, you can get a reward. It wasn't about if you don't do this, you're going to get punished. Or it was like, if you do this, you get a reward. So I was always, as a kid, thinking about the reward.
Wow.
Always. If I do something, I know I can get something if I do something.
Yeah.
And
Parents, that's important right there.
Yeah. So for me, and then once I got the job, unbeknownst to me, the store owner, he was just my boss initially, but he became my godfather. And I made him that. I self-appointed him my godfather because I respected and admired him so much. He was a senior citizen ever since I met him. And so, God rest his soul, he just passed 2 years ago at 91. And Letty was a business owner when I first met him as a kid for 40-plus years already. And it was not just a regular candy store. It was a wholesale and retail candy store. And so we wholesale to smaller stores. And so I was able to learn the difference, right? And so very early on, my godfather taught me how to profit off of a penny. We sold penny candy. And I would always say, how can you make money off a penny? And he showed me one day. And so for me, my first job was my most major job because it prepared me. He told me very early, I would tell him all my ambition. I would say, what I'm going to do and how successful I'm going to be and how wealthy I would be. And I remember one time he quite frankly and bluntly said, no, you're not going to be wealthy working for me. And I'm like, huh? What do you mean? He's like, you can't become wealthy working for anybody. He said, if you want to become wealthy, you have to work for yourself. And I learned that, maybe at 14, maybe. I probably was earlier than that. And it was a life lesson that I hold to this day. My children understand it. My daughter, she's so smart. She said, well, Dad, I'm not trying to be wealthy. I just want just enough. I'm going to be an OBGYN, and I don't need all that. She see how hard me and her mother work, so she's like, I don't need to go through all that. I just go to school, I'll get this degree, and I'll do this, and I'll make this much a year, and I'll manage that. How about that? My son is a little bit different. He's more ambitious. He wants to make beats like Nick Speed, and, he already produced beats at 7, tripped me out.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, one day just told me, Dad, my beats dropping on such and such a day. I say, huh? How you do that? He was 7 years old.
Wow.
And he told me he went online, found online distribution, digital distribution companies, filled out everything, and sure enough, you Google him, his beats is on there, bro. So, I try to encourage my kids, like my parents did me, kind of freedom in thought and to whatever, just like Rose said, whatever you think you are, if you apply yourself now, you are that now. It's this idea of what are you going to be when you grow up that's dispelled. That's old information. Children are so successful now. My son came out the womb using his index finger to point at electronic devices. I thought to myself, how in the hell do he know how to control a tablet already? So, what was the question again? My first job. What was my first job?
Major
my
job.
first job was my first job was my major job, and it really prepared me for life. And I think I think that's the purpose of a job, to help develop life skills.
That's good. I like that. Kyle.
So my first major job is it's split between two. So the roller rink, my family owned the whole block. The roller rink is on one end of the block, and my mom had a restaurant on the other end. So I used to help my mom run the restaurant, and when she would close, go home, put on the outfit, go to the skating rink. So I would say I was more so born in it. Like I don't remember learning how to work. It was just always there. It was something that we just did as a part of growing up in this family. It's just something that we did. We just ran things and we put things together. And at times you had to step up and be a leader. At 13, 14 years old, you might have to hold the ship down for a little while. So for me, I was more so like born in it. It was never like a anointing day or nothing like that. It was just everybody had their role to play, and when it's your turn, and you got to hold it down for everybody. So, yeah, my first major job was split between my mom's restaurant and RollerCade.
That's awesome, man. I love that. So, I just want to know, like, what were some of the difficulties on your way, on your career path, on your way to where you are now? And how did you overcome them?
You might want to start with what are the good things? It'd be a lot.
You said it didn't take too long for the difficulties.
Yeah, for the difficult things, but for me, it was like not, particularly for the, like you say, for the store, not being, not having the financials behind me, right, and not even knowing or not even having the knowledge that there are things that have to be in place for you to walk into a bank and ask for some money. On TV, all my life, you walk in, you ask for some money, they give you money. When I walked in, they looked at me like, young black man, you need to turn around and leave and just figure, I don't know why you even came here. So it's just things like that, man, just being, just not having the knowledge of how things actually work. And, but being 100% into and passionate about what I have going on to figure it out. And that's for me, that's it. It's a lot of people. I had a conversation with Alan Bishop, Mr. Allen, right, and his sons. The conversation was with his sons, but it was about talking about his father, and their father is one of the coolest, most down to earth human beings that I've ever met. And we talk. Mr. Bishop always acknowledged me for starting from nothing and figuring it out, right? The conversations that I would talk to when I would talk to his kids, they always talked about, like, yeah, I was born in this, man. My father, when I was this age, taught me how to do this, and this is how you buy. This is how you get a budget. Never had a budget in my life. It's all gut. That's dope. Let's buy it. That's not dope. Let's not buy it, right? But it was these things that they were taught and raised to be who, to when they became 18, 19 years old, to take over 30 to 40 stores. I don't even know how many stores they had, but to take that over and it run, and it doesn't feel like a drop off. So that's the difference, right? I had to figure it out, man. Like, I had no, my mom had a store at the flea market, and she did these things, and yeah, I had a overall sense of this, but even as a child, it wasn't like sit down and learn this. So that was probably the toughest thing for me, is like figuring it out on my own.
Yeah, I think I had to do a lot on my own as well. So I do understand that level of difficulty when you don't necessarily have a teacher, and we weren't in the information age yet, like before 2005. So, if you've been doing this longer than 2005, I mean, YouTube came out of 2005. Before that, you might have had to go to a library. I mean, you had Google, but, it's just more prevalent now, I'll say. So, Fame, how about you? What were some of the difficulties that you had to go through, and how did you overcome them?
Some of the difficulties that I think life's a challenge, man, and I think life is it's always a problem is just an opportunity for a solution. And so for me, I still deal with all type of challenges. One of the most major challenges that I overcame is the transition from Fame Shop to 313. Fame Shop was this idea that I had in my mind that, it's kind of like the hip hop shop, but it wouldn't be hip hop niche, right? Fashion, art, music, entertainment, and then shop should help our people. That was my idea, having this maker space, if you will, where we can make things that's dope. Other creatives can have access to my equipment to make things, because you like you say, starting off, you don't have the equipment. And I got stuck. It was at a point to where I was making a bunch of dope stuff, at least in my opinion, and but because of the location, we were in the middle of the hood, right, in Joy Road in Wyoming, right. So we weren't getting a lot of people coming to the hood to buy the things that I was selling, and then the people in the immediate community couldn't really afford the things that I was selling. So I was kind of like stuck, right, and I took a class through Goldman and Sachs, a 10,000 small business class. I was the first cohort when it came to the city here. And in that class, they helped us to identify our growth opportunity for our current business, which mine was Fame Shop. And so, first day of class, second day of class, they ask you, what do you think your opportunity for growth is? And I was so tired of making things for other people. By this time, I had come up with this idea of a do-it-yourself T-shirt shop, right? Do it yourself. I got all the equipment. I lay it all out. You come in and you can print this stuff yourself because I don't want to do it no more. And so, but I thought it was a dope idea. Everybody's doing custom T-shirts. Everybody has like a press or something in their basement. They trying to get into it. So I thought it'd be a super dope idea. And after Goldman and Sachs kind of put it through their program and spit it out on the other end, it's like, no, that's not your opportunity for growth. What ended up being my best opportunity for growth was to leverage my current trademark. I own several trademarks. One of them at the time was 313, which is a spin on our city's area code, 313. The growth opportunity was to leverage that trademark, leverage my production to make things just for the brand, and then retail the merchandise, not wholesaler, retailer. So basically they told me, listen, you're going to have to use that equipment, everything you got, to make 313 stuff since you own it, and then you're going to have to open up a store and sell it. And that's your growth opportunity. That's where you can go from where you are now to where you want to be. And so that's what I did. And God, by God's grace, man, that's what I was able to do. Our first store was downtown at Jefferson and Shane. We haven't looked back. We really have innovated what Detroit merchandising is. We have innovated what Pride apparel is in the city. And we really are moving a movement, if you will, when it comes to the city representing the city. When I was growing up in the city, you wouldn't even tell nobody was from Detroit almost. You know what I'm saying? And so for me, when I started 313, when I got the trademark, the only Detroit brand at the time was Made in Detroit. And it didn't represent Detroit to me. In my perspective of what Detroit was, how the garments and the merchandise and the designs were being presented wasn't representative of the Detroit that I knew. And so at that point, I already had success as making and selling my own clothes all over the world, quite frankly. I had brands that I sold in over 70 cities, 600 stores, and I kind of Detroit was getting so much mud slung at it. That was like during the housing crisis, during the what did we do? Bankruptcy. The foreclosure crisis, and then the bankruptcy we was going through. So the city on national media was looking like a dump. And Made in Detroit was the brand that represented it in the way that I knew I could, visually on clothes. And it really wasn't represented to me. And so I came up with some designs that I thought would highlight the city's, what was good about the city, people, places, and things in the city. And I put those designs in stores. And this was before we had a retail store. I printed them, and I wholesaled them to like Strictly Sportswear. What else? Strictly Sportswear. It was, can't think of other stores. For Men was one of the stores, but it flopped. It didn't do well. People didn't really relate, and it messed me up because I'm like, I got the formula. I just knew it was gonna do well. It didn't do well. And that was like 2008, and it wasn't until 2015 till we got our first store. For those however many years, 7 years, I was literally building the brand organically, in and out of barbershops, at the gas station, at the bottom, what I'm saying, on clothesline. One of the things I used to love to do is I would post up on a corner. We got a lot of vacant corners in the city, a lot of, vacant lots. I would literally go into like a busy intersection. Finkel and Wyoming was one of my favorite, or Finkel and Hubble was really a good one for me too. I would just go, set up in the middle of the lot, clothesline. I literally filled up 2 5-gallon buckets full of cement with poles, and then I would string a clothesline between them and hang up my T-shirts on the corner. So people ride by, it's just T-shirts blowing in the wind like banners. And I would sell T-shirts. So, biggest challenge now is team building. And like to kind of touch on what Rose said, I'm first generation retailer. my father didn't do this, my mother didn't do this. I'm first, I'm learning. And so you got a learning curve. And team building, hiring the right person for the right seat. He spoke to earlier about how you asked him about the consistency of his marketing and branding. And he spoke to how he has a guy on his team that's dope, that he delegates that authority to. And so that's one of the things that I have to, that's challenging now that I'm working through.
Yeah, it's important, definitely. Actually, it's hard to sometimes get a team to see your vision, or a big group of people to see your vision before, because seeing is believing. So if they haven't seen it yet, it's like, look, I'm going to do this. I mean, just for us to even be sitting right here, this took a lot of convincing, but we want to thank Bedrock for letting us, be able to do this today. You know what I mean? Because, they allowed us the opportunity to come up here and talk about these great businesses that you guys have. And, but anyway, yeah, man, it's hard to, for some people to see the vision. Kyle?
Yeah, so some of my difficulties were like, when I had went away to school. I had went to Wayne State for 2 years, and I transferred to Georgia State. I had a brother who lived in Atlanta, and he was doing an internship with GE, General Electronics, I think. Well, excuse me, he had a job at GE, and I wanted to be like him. He had a job where, this is 2010, he was working from home, company paid for the house, company paid for the car. He only went into the field a few hours a week, and it was a job that I thought that, would fit me good and how I wanted to live my lifestyle. So I'm going to Georgia State University, and I'm going into my next semester, the fall semester. I took my first classes there in the summer, and my mom calls, and she lets me know that the family is considering selling the RollerCade because, it hit the end of an era. Everybody who was in charge is kind of at the retirement age, and it was like, she was just letting me know that was something that they was considering, that they was actually considering selling the property and the business. And I said, wow, that's crazy, but we had it for a long time. Get your cut. I'll talk to you later. So that was my initial response was, do what you got to do and then call me back after you get the money. That was my initial response. Then she called back. She told me again, she said, no, they really considering selling the RollerCade. And I'm like, yeah, Ma, you told me, what you keep bringing this up for? I mean, I know it's sad, but I got these classes I got to worry about. I can't be stressing out about that. And she said, have you ever thought about running it? And that question changed my paradigm of like my life. And it was like, I mean, of course I thought about running it. I mean, I did all through my high school years and elementary. That was something I just did naturally, but I never considered it as a career and what that meant until she asked, have you ever thought about it? And from that day on, that question lingered. And then, you get the guilt tripping a little bit like, what if they do sell it? You know what I'm saying? What if I come home and I don't have that place to go to see my family? You know what I mean? Or the kids in my hood don't have that place to go express themselves. So I called her back like a couple days later, and I said, I'm not going to enroll in the classes this fall. I'm going to take a year off and give the family business a try. June 1st, it's been 10 years.
Wow.
Yeah.
Man, make some
so
noise
I've been
for
there
that.
10 years. And when it comes to the difficulties, when I first came back, the business was in a state of, just to be transparent, failure. It was no people coming in, no parties getting booked, no skates being sold. It was at the point of, we got to start from the ground up. The building had work that needed to be done, and I really felt like walking in, I was over my head. So the biggest difficulty for me was, how do I take this historic situation, something that was popular for a long time, that has kind of devalued over the years just because trends change. You got the emergence of the internet and technology. Kids don't want to skate. That's not the only thing it is to do. So the difficulty for me was, how do I take this building, this business that's on the far end of the city, in a city where it's all of these beautiful skating rinks. You got Northland, you got Detroit Roller Wheels, you got Skateland on the east side. You got all these beautiful rinks, and then here I am. I have a rink that's small, It's on the far end of the city. How do I convince people, or how do I create the value in that business and make people want to come spend their dollars and then do it again? So for me, I never wanted to be a one-hit wonder. I never wanted to be that guy to have one big thing. I wanted to create a customer base that was loyal to our brand, to what we was doing. I wanted to always, when somebody paid us some money to come in and skate, I wanted them to leave and be ready to pay us some more money again. I never wanted to just grab that money and I'm done with it. I got your money, I'm gone. No. I wanted to create an experience for everybody that came through that door. And the difficulty was being pigeonholed in a building that's an older building. It's from the 50s. And it wasn't like my granddad knew everybody to do the job right. It was like something that they kind of just put together on their own. It was, how do I create value in this business and with this brand? How do I make other people see that this is something that they could partake in and want to be a part of? How do I convince people that drive past the normal skating rink that you go to and come visit us? So that was some of the difficulties that I faced, was how do I create the value in that business again and reignite people's passion for roller skating at the RollerCade?
Wow, man. I mean, those are some amazing stories, man. And I really appreciate you guys coming out here and telling your stories. But I before I get to questions from the audience, I have like one last question for all three of you guys. And that's just, what are you guys up to today? Since you had a chance to tell your whole history and your story, I need to know what's your current day, what's going on right now with you guys.
Well, we got RollerCade Southwest is still popping. We open 4 or 5 days out the week. We got the Midway right here, so it's 2 places you can come get that RollerCade experience, and we still authentic to who we are when my grandmother started the business, and authentic to Detroit. So that's where we at now.
Good, dope.
Yeah, man, we on Detroit's historic avenue of fashion, and we expanding. So our store is a bi-level building, but our store is on the first floor. Going forward, we plan to have some usable space upstairs that we can use to engage community as well. I'm looking forward to that.
Dope.
And for me, it's similar. You know, it's just growth. You know, having the opportunity and the resources and the knowledge now to be able to grow. You know, musically, Coney Island. Plug Coney Island.
Coney Island.
You
For
know
those that
what I'm
don't know, Roast Spit and Nick Speed, we do have an album that we just released called Coney Island, and it is available in the pop-up shop right there as well.
Yes, sir. And then you know, DJing is my passion. I started off as a DJ before I was an MC, and as I'm getting older, I'm just elevating in that space and being able to, you know, partner with amazing people, amazing creators in that space is like what keeps me going in this music thing when it feels like a lot's not going on. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, but those 3 things, BurnRubber, Shop 218, it's amazing and it's awesome. And for so long we've been talking about coming down to Detroit. So to be open in Eastern Market is incredible, and it's an amazing thing, man. And it's been going great. We've been accepted by the community and just the people around. So that's pretty much it.
Man, I mean, I gotta say, man, I mean, I've actually had the opportunity to work with all 3 of you guys individually, and I mean, nothing but great experiences. Kyle, we just met like last year, but it's been all love ever since then. You know what I mean? As soon as I walk in the door, it's like, yo, what you need? You know, so, and what a beautiful park you have here, man. So, Fame, you know, we collaborated on the emoji, 313, you know, logo, and many more things to come. Roast Spit, you know, we had a Coney Island album as well as the Coney Island Block Party on July 3rd. So look out for that in front of his store 218 and Thomas McGee's in Eastern Market. But you know what? I want to take a couple questions out the audience. Emily, do you have that microphone right there? Okay. So if anybody has any questions in the audience, I want to see if anybody has any questions, because I mean, you guys pretty much laid it out. But okay, yeah, we got a question.
Check.
Thank you, Emily. Emily on bass too. Yeah.
What's up, Emily?
Hey, how you doing? I'm Eldon. I'm not from Detroit. I've been here basically 7 years working at DTE as a contractor. So my experience with Detroit is pretty much, I'm a skater for one thing. So I've been through all the skating rinks in Detroit. And we actually stumbled into Kyle's one night, my wife and I. Didn't know what the building was, we was just curious. We saw a skate symbol up there, so we went up there and it looked like it was abandoned. So we came back one night, we saw cars. And since we've been coming there ever since. And when he says he promises you an experience, that's what you get. So, and we feel so welcome. Every time we're there, we feel welcome. But a question I want to pose to all three of you is, Kyle mentioned the experience that he wants to give people and technology. How do you see yourself taking yourself to the next level using technology and presenting a new experience to keep people coming?
I'm glad you asked that, Eldon. I've been brainstorming in my head, with the evolution of technology, and like Fame said, his baby already pointing the finger at electronic devices. I wanted to figure out, I was having this discussion with my uncle, and I said the concept of roller skating or going to the roller rink, the concept of that hasn't changed from the time it started. You come in, you purchase a ticket, you hit the floor, you skate, and you go home. It's a good concept, still works to this day, but I wanted to think of a way to change that and to, merge technology and this concept of roller skating. And one thing I'm working on developing is developing software to where we have our rental skates are come out of like a vending machine, where you buy your ticket, you scan a barcode, that barcode tells the computer what size skates you need, and just make it more of an experience. And then when you return those skates, you get the big disinfectant smoke cloud to let you know we cleaning your skates, just to give it more of an experience and kind of evolve what it means to go to a roller rink for the future. Because if I'm spending all this time and money invested into roller skating, I have to have a plan for the future of it. And I want to get ahead of it and not behind. So my goal is to merge more technology into the idea of roller skating and just the experience of a roller rink.
For me, it's twofold, but going to what Kyle said, like the thing about sneakers and because I consider BurnRubber and 218 a shoe store, and we sell clothing. The thing about sneakers is, man, you can set up anywhere and sell sneakers, right? Nike and Jordan, they sell sneakers, so they don't care really about that. It's about that experience. It's about when a person walks through that door, what's making them come back, what's making them say, man, I would rather go there past all these other stores that people have come literally from around the world to our store because they've heard about an experience. And then the other thing with moving to the future is the youth. You know what I'm saying? Like the youth is, I'm 43, man. I don't get it. I literally have conversations with my staff like about the things that are going on, and like why do you like that rapper, but you don't like that rapper? You know what I'm saying? Or why is this shoe? This is the exact same shoe, different color. Why? Like, what is making everybody go here, right? And it's the same thing with technology. And it's, iPhone, it's like you got to have a blue text thread. And it's like, really? You know what I'm saying? Like, that's a thing. But just staying with the youth, because the youth is, they got it. They got the sauce, man. They got it. And it's not, a lot of that kind of stuff isn't for me. It's not for me to understand. It's for my children. It's for my, the young people, my little cousins, my little sister. Like, she understands so much stuff that's going on in this world. Like, I don't know, but I keep those people around me, and I'm inquisitive, and I ask questions, and then I pay people that's smarter than me to do the things that I can't do. That's what I do. I pay it, man. Just go ahead, because it's gonna cost more in the long run if you don't.
That's the move, fam.
Technology, how do we incorporate, or how do we plan on incorporating technology into the business? So first and foremost, I need everybody with an iPhone, pull out your iPhone, go to the App Store, download our store app. It's 313. It's right on the Apple Store, the App Store. It's spelled out, the word 3, the word 13. Once you download the app, what it will do is it allow you to engage with the items that we sell in our store. So some years ago, I was in LA for the first time. I was in LA. And I went to like Melrose, and I wasn't excited. And I went to like, what's the other, Fairfax, and it wasn't exciting either. And me and my friend Dan, he's out here too. We were together, and we ended up riding to into the hood and going to the Marathon store, the Nipsey store. And before I could pull into the parking lot, I was impressed. I was like, wow. I knew that I had arrived at a place. And so long story short, once I go in, the young lady that worked there, she said, pull out your phone. You got an iPhone, pull it out, download our app. And I'm pushing back. I'm like, for what? I don't want no app on my phone. Why? She's like, just download the app. I'm trying to tell you, you're going to love it. Download the app. So I download the app. And with all these years that I had in selling T-shirts, I had never seen nothing like this. The app allowed, it connected to your camera on your phone. And when you scan certain items in the store, it had connected experiences. So, I download the app. I, cut it on. I launched it. It connected to my camera. And I put my phone over like a Nipsey T-shirt or something, and a video popped up, like one of his rap videos popped up. Everybody in the video wearing the shirt that I'm looking at. It blew my mind. And so I had to figure out how to develop that. So we're the only smart store in Detroit, probably in Michigan, but definitely in the city.
Man, make some noise for that, man.
Yeah,
And I'm gonna tell you the truth. You're the first person that I've ever seen do that, and that is incredible.
And I appreciate you for that. Yeah. So the app allows you guys to engage with the items that we sell, learn about our stores, connected content. But going forward, we plan on doing more. So it's a kiosk that we're putting in our store where you walk in the store, you better enter your information, your mailing address, email address, so on and so forth. And it's just going to allow us to keep up with you, send you free gifts, keep you engaged with what we got going on, events, and so on and so forth. But
another thing I want to say is studying and being humble enough to learn from your friends. You know what I'm saying? Because like I said, I don't even know if I ever told you this, but you're the first person I ever seen do that, and it sparked something in my brain to like, I'm big on learning from people, but not stealing ideas. You know what I'm saying? And building and growing, because each one is going to teach one. You know what I'm saying? Going back to Dilla and Pete Rock, you know what I'm saying? Like the thing, so many people stole from Dilla, right? But the thing, like, the Pete Rocks and the Q-Tips always talked about is they had this thing where like they would make something that's incredible, the whole world dancing to, and then they heard a Dilla beat, and it's like, oh, and it makes you not want to copy. It makes you want to go back to the lab and do your own thing better. And but just something like that made me where I'm like, man, I gotta get an app. Like I'm not saying that I gotta have nobody dancing and doing all this stuff and these things have to pop up, but it just pushed me to be better. You know what I'm saying? So studying and learning from the people around you, and just just giving kudos and props when it's time.
Passing along the inspiration. Again, like you said, each one teach one. So, if I see Emily doing something great on bass, I don't play bass, but I do music, so that might make me want to, like, oh, man, I got to do a killer bass line on my next thing or something so Em could play it. You know what I mean? Yeah, that kind of stuff. Anybody else have anything?
This lovely young lady right here.
How y'all doing? My name Martinique.
Hey.
I'm a former employee at the RollerCade. Hey, Carl. I have a question for the guy in the white T-shirt. Yeah,
Ro.
I don't know your name.
Yeah.
Ro? Okay, cool. I am a former DJ myself, upcoming. I go by DJ Blessed, and I just want to ask a question. What keeps you motivated to want to DJ even after like 10 years from now?
That's an amazing question. I appreciate it. The thing that keeps me going and pushing and to grow as a DJ is that it's never the same, ever. Even if you play the same songs day after day, you can play them in different ways, right? You can mix them in different. Tonight you can scratch it in. Tomorrow you can mix it in. The next day you could drop it. And I think it's like every time, like my sister, I taught my sister how to DJ, right?
And to me, she's one of the most amazing DJs I've ever seen in my life. She's right there in the front. Court Denise. And the dope thing about her is that, like, it's kind of like riding a bike, right? Where you could teach someone how to ride a bike, but you can't teach somebody how to be a BMX ride, trick biker. I don't even know what they call them, whatever. But it's that, right? It's seeing, coming to a space or to where she, pulling up when she DJing, and she played that song last week, but she didn't play it like that. The mix didn't sound like that. And then it's that in me that every time that I DJ, it's just like, oh my God, is anybody hearing this? Like, what do I have to do? You know what I'm saying? And that's, for me, that's what it is. And the other dope thing about being a DJ and a producer when it comes to, make the music that I'm into, right, as far as like rap, I always said you can never be too old to DJ or produce. You can be too old to rap, right? Now, yes, Jay-Z is 50-something years old, right? But he's Jay-Z, right? Nobody wants to come to Midway on Monroe and see a new 60-year-old rapper that they never heard of. You know what I'm saying? But if you come to Midway and it's a DJ up here that's 60 years old and he's playing everything you want to hear, you like, man, that old guy is killing it up there. So it's like that thought process of like, I'm never gonna outgrow I'm never gonna is it out age or whatever, it's age out. I'm never gonna age out of this, and it's always fresh and it's always new. Even when like as an MC, there's times where I get in the rut and I can't think of nothing, or I need to lean on my friends for some inspiration or something like that. With DJing, man, I don't care if it's one person there or if it's 1,000 people. I'm having the same good time, and it's that passion that is just always in me.
Definitely.
King.
Oh man, that's my guy.
I appreciate that. What up, though, y'all? My name is King, and first of all, I want to give it up to all three of y'all, all four of y'all, because y'all represent Detroit. Y'all could have got y'all money and left, but y'all stayed home.
100.
You know what I'm saying? And that's real love, for real.
Appreciate it.
And from this experience alone, I am inspired. You know what I'm saying? I look at y'all as role models, and I really appreciate y'all for just being yourselves, and you know what I'm saying, just loving the city and loving y'all community, and I really greatly appreciate that. And my question for all three of you is, why is your love for like giving back to your community still there? Like, why is your love for business owning there? Like, why? Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I know for me, I remember the first week of school, 7th grade, I'll never forget it. We didn't have no money for nothing that year for whatever reason. We just didn't have no money for anything. And I remember going to my English class, second hour, Miss Foster. And she was like, all right, everybody, pull out your notebooks, pull out your pens. I was just looking like, and everybody pulled one out but me, you know what I'm saying? And then everybody was doing their work, putting their notes down. And I remember my teacher bringing me a brand new notebook and an ink pen. And I'm thinking, all right, I'm ready to work now. I can get to work. You know what I'm saying? But I remember what that feeling was like of going to school unprepared and not being ready and not even being able to take school serious, being able to benefit from it because I didn't have the proper tools. So, like, for me, when you say giving back to the community, like I do a back-to-school drive every year where I go in my pocket, I buy like 500 book bags, stuff them with notebooks, ink pens, crayons, rulers, whatever school supplies I can find. I got friends that cut hair. They come pull up and do free haircuts for all the young men. All types of people just donate to this event, and I've been doing it for like 8 years now. But the reason I did it is because I remember that feeling of going to school unprepared. And I was like, I'm at a position now where I can save somebody from going through that. And that's why I chose to give back. And I pride RollerCade because we host a free quarterly event for the community where you can come to the RollerCade. Everything is free 4 times a year. So I pride myself on giving back to the community because the community is what made us. Those people that we giving back to are the people who give to us all year round. Even if they don't come spend money, they telling somebody about your business. They telling somebody about the way you treated them, which is leading to people coming in. So that's how I stayed involved with my community. Was I was one of them. I was of that, and I just so happened to move ahead in my life, and I want to help other people do the same, or at least level the playing field so that if they want to take that opportunity, they have the chance to. So just try to give more people the chance.
So, you know, for me, I was raised in customer service. I got my first job. I was 11 years old. By the time I was 12 or 13, I was behind a counter ringing that register because that was like the cashier was like the first step when you're doing something. And so, and I learned very early that it pays. It pays to engage your community. Like my godfather, he had what was called the birthday book. And so on your birthday, you could come to the store. He'd open up this old book. I mean, it's like a relic. He still has it to this day. You open up the book, you go to the date of your birthday, and you write your name down, and you either get 50 cents worth of free candy or you get a silver dollar or half silver dollar. And I remember super early he would tell me, he would say, most of the people are going to want the candy, but they should take the silver dollar. You know? And so I just learned customer service super early. I learned the benefit from it. You know, the idea is that when you like 313, I'm super intentional about using our store as a platform to engage community because I understand the value that holds. It's not many of us. It's not many of us business owners in our own communities. And so when you have the opportunity to engage community, you have to, especially, you know, I live in the community in which I serve. I grew up in the community in which I serve. And so for me, it's more of an obligation, right? I watched my godfather do it year after year. He never had bulletproof glass in his store. Where I watched other business owners open up stores up and down the street, the first thing they do is install the bulletproof glass. And he would tell me all the time that, you know, I would say, Dad, why won't you put up bulletproof glass? It's dangerous. And he'd say, no, it's not. It's not that. It's more dangerous with the bulletproof glass. I say, why? He said, because now people thinking that you're scared, or people thinking that you don't trust them, or people that thinking that, you know. So he never did. And to this day, that business been there 50 years, no bulletproof glass. Every other business up and down the street, from dry cleaners to just local, you know, party stores, bulletproof glass. So for me, it's so much work to be done when it comes to us growing as a community in business. And because the gap is so wide when it comes to our culture and others that operate in our own communities, I feel compelled every day to be my best version of me. You know, I know that I was raised and reared with these skills so that I can have an impact. And so that's what's most important to me every day. Not so much being the most popular or not necessarily having the most money, but definitely having impact. And when people come in our store, they feel that. They feel that because we're intentional about giving that. And I think our community deserves it. Our community deserves to have businesses that are super conscious of engaging them, caring about what they think about, looking to understand them.
And I would go off of, like, just going off exactly what they said, what both of them said is for sure there. The two things that I would add to it is, you know, when you are put in a position to bless, and you do so, more blessings come to you. I'm a firm believer in that. And then going back to what Kyle said about that feeling of not being sufficient, being insufficient, is a feeling that I think all of us have felt before in some way or another. And what was I gonna say? The point I was gonna say and the fact that when you're in a situation like that, when you're in the position to bless, is that
we're not far away from needing a blessing. You know what I'm saying? I saw something not too long ago. Somebody was talking about how they were poor growing up, and I was like, man, that's kind of crazy. And then they was like, yeah, man, we ate this certain kind of cheese, and I'm like, dang, that's the cheese we ate. And then they was like, yeah, man, we ate cereal with the white box with the black letters. I'm like, that's the cereal. So I just realized that I was poor growing up, dog. It was crazy to me because it didn't feel like it at the time, but that's what I was going through. And as far removed as a person may feel like they are from that, you're not. Couple bad decisions, a couple bad situations, you might be right there standing in the line at a church trying to get some shoes, man. So I just think that's just the way I think. And like if I'm ever in a position to do so, man, I just try to give and it could just be a conversation. You know, it could just be some knowledge about what's going on to help you get a little bit further. And I want to see everybody with a smile on their face, and I want to see everybody win that's around me. I can't even say that's around me, that I come in contact with, period. Yeah, that's incredible right there.
Great question, King.
Yeah. Shout out to King, man. He's making his way out here. Young legend in the making, for real.
Definitely.
Any other questions?
So, my name is Courtney. All of y'all want to grow your business, correct? Have y'all ever been presented with like investors wanting to invest in your business, and what's the reason y'all maybe deciding to do it or decided to not? Because I know ownership is everything.
I'll go. Yeah, I'll go first. The answer is yes. I've been presented multiple times with offers, some that felt good, felt like, you know, I could kind of end up on the beach somewhere with my toes in the sand and not have to talk to nobody else for a long time. You know what I'm saying? And then there's times that it was not right. But ultimately, I just kind of, my job wasn't done. My baby hadn't grown. My baby hadn't grown to the point where I felt like I was ready to, you know, kind of pass it along to somebody else. I think when it comes to retail, when it comes to business and just the space that we're in, because of what we put into it from the time, from like just, because all this came from a thought. It came from our minds, and then it became this thing. And when you see it grow, and you realize like the failures that you know, the failed attempts at whatever, or the positive things that happen, I think you see it at a place, and until it gets to that place, you're not. Well, I'll say for myself, I wouldn't be content with walking away from it and looking back. Now there is a point that I'm going to get to when I'm going to be able to just wipe my hands clean of it and be proud of whatever happens to it. Case in point, going back to the Allens, Mr. Allen and his sons. I've thought about like my daughters, right? Obviously, you know, and I don't know if they want to take BurnRubber over. Sanaa doesn't even wear sneakers, right? She don't even like them. But it's going to get to a point where I will pass it along to them, and I will be completely content of them messing it up and not have no thoughts about it. Like, yeah, listen, I set you up. Nobody set me up. I set you up, and it's your, you know, so you did that. But from where it got to or where it grew to, that was my ultimate goal. And, you know, and whether it grows past that or not, whatever, but at that point, I'll be able to walk away, and it's just not there yet.
As far as 313 goes, investors know. Prior, you know, I have several business endeavors where I've had investors approach. With 313, what I've learned is we've been getting more poachers versus investors. So you have, you know, people present themselves as whomever just to come get concepts, ideas to try to do things similar. For me, our business, our brand and our business is bigger than me, and it represents, our connection to the city. And so when I think about going forward, the direction that we would like to move in, and just the idea of equity, right? I would love the idea of people in the city to be able to have equity in our business. And so I've been working for the past 6 months or so to make that possible. And hopefully before the new year, around Christmas time, that'll be our gift to the city, where citizens can invest into our business and have equity shares into Detroit's brand name. I think for me, having a legacy business, having a business that's around for a very long time is how I was raised. Like I said, my godfather been in business 50 years. And, I don't know, I'm first generation at this. I don't have any friends or family that has businesses that have been in business for over 10 years, 15 years. Kyle is an exception to that. I'm just meeting him today. But growing up, I didn't have friends whose parents were in business. Most of my friends' parents had jobs if they had a job. And so for me, the idea of having a legacy business that really represents our city in an organic way into the future is more important than, my being sole owner.
I think for me, over the decades, we've had people come in and want to buy the building, want to buy the business and stuff like that. But I think for me, the way I look at it is, my grandparents started this, and what if they would have chose to share ownership? Then my uncle might not have had the opportunity he had. And if my uncle would have chose to share equity, he might not have had the opportunity to give me. So I feel like my grandparents, I never met either one of my grandparents. I never got to meet my grandmother or grandfather. They didn't know I was coming, but I came. My uncle, like I said, it was a whole line of people before me, and then I showed up. So I feel like as far as RollerCade go with the size of our family and stuff like that, I feel like the ownership, it's my responsibility to set up the whatever generation of the family to where I can pass that baton to the next one, and it's your turn to run with it as far as, taking on an investor just to make the brand bigger. And it might seem outlandish, but I would rather own something small and give another person in my family the ability to have creative control to make the decisions that they want to make versus me taking a lump sum and only getting a percentage or only being able to say a certain part of the say-so, or not being able to fully express myself without having to have somebody else's consent in that, knowing that I feel like I know what's best for our business. So that's how I feel about investors and ownership. It would all be in the family for me.
I appreciate that. I think that's the last of the questions we're going to take from the audience. And, today we just wanted to showcase some of the, great business owners that I personally have a chance to come across and work with. And we just wanted to get some stories straight from the city of Detroit and how they made it happen and how they made it work and how they overcame their obstacles and, what everything they went through and everything they did to get up to this point that we sitting here on this stage, sponsored by Bedrock. Shout out Dan Gilbert. So right now I want y'all to make some noise for all three of my guests today.
And make some noise for Nick Speed, man. Make some noise for that, man.
For sure.
Have using your platform to do things like this, man. To get, like, cause you could have been up here talking about yourself, Summer. You know what I'm saying? Like on the real. So having this platform and this opportunity and allowing us, other business owners, other people we've talked about your ideas for this. It's amazing, bro, and it's special.
I appreciate it, man. Thank you guys so much for coming out. I hope everybody gets home safe. Make sure you network with everybody in the audience because it's a special group right here. Thank you so much, and good night.